What's up, guys? I am going to make a how-to video. I haven't made a video in a very long time, but here we go. We're going to do, well, I'm going to do a crank install, Kitaco crank, and we're going to do a Takegawa 5-speed transmission. I don't know if there's any videos out there on the internet, but I've done quite a few of these, so I'll just give it a go. This is the Kitaco crank. Takegawa 5-speed transmission. We're going to be taking parts off of the stock transmission to make this one complete. This is everything that comes in the box. Instructions. This one actually came with English instructions. That's new. Fresh gaskets for your side covers. The crank comes with a bearing that goes on your clutch side. So that bearing is actually in the freezer now. And we are going to heat this up. I use a heat gun, you can use a torch. We heat this up until you can put a little water on there and it boils. The bearing's frozen. It's been in the freezer for a day. So the bearing will just slip right in here. Makes it real easy. I've done probably 4 of these now in a stock crank. It's super simple, so I figured I'd make a video and explain how to do the process. I'll have links in the descriptions to the tools I use because it was a special tool for the crank, the Kitaco crank puller. You can get that at WeBike Japan. You might even be able to get that on Amazon. I'm not sure. Amazon's a shit show right now with this crap that's going on around the world. So yeah, good luck with that. I'm going to mount the camera up there. The first thing we're going to do is heat up that case half. That is the clutch side case half, or the right hand side. Because like I said, the crank has no bearing on the clutch side. The bearing is already installed on the timing side, so the timing cover just slips on top. Pretty simple. I'll show you the gasket stuff we're using right here. I'm going to be using some Honda Bond. I'll link that in the description. I'm going to have, I've done a few builds, so getting the old dowel pins out, usually they get damaged. I use fresh new dowel pins. So all my parts are at the dealer, so I gotta go tomorrow and get to the parts that I ordered. Yeah, so again, we're just gonna heat this up. I'm gonna mount the camera and we'll get to it. This will be quick and easy. I'll do a few, I don't know. I might do another video. I'm doing a Neo kit, so they might turn the camera the wrong way. There might be a video after this about putting the top end on. I don't know if anyone wants to see that, but comment below and I'll upload it. I'll make a video if there is one. So hopefully this helps, guys.
A few moments later.
I should go make one on Forza and show it to you guys. Maybe later tonight. Also, these tires are nice, but I'm gonna get some new wheels, so they'll probably definitely have new tires as well. So I'll keep this as like my backup set. Spares, wheels, and tires. But new wheels, new tires coming. I want these things to stick out a little bit.
All right, as you can see, we got the bearing in there. If you're more skilled than me, you can actually get it lined up perfect and it will just drop right in. I usually end up having to love tap it on the outside, but bearings in. This case is way too hot to handle right now, so I'm going to let this cool and then we're going to install the crank. Alrighty, bearings cooled down, the case is cooled down, we can touch it, not going to burn us. We got the Kitaco crank here. These are the tools. Adjustable, 18mm socket ratchet, and this right here is the Kitaco tool. So this part will thread onto here. You pull that through the bearing. This part goes on the other end, like so, like that, and then this will screw onto here. This is reverse thread, and it will suck the crank up into the bearing. That's why they call it a Kitaco puller. crank puller tool. So I'm going to mount the camera up top there, and we will get this crank mounted. You'll know when it's all the way in because it just won't go any farther. There's no questioning that. Pretty easy. So let's go. When you're doing this, make sure you have the rod in its proper spot. You don't want to tighten this down and have it not end up here, because then that's a shit show. So we're just going to hold this with our adjustable. And remember, this is reverse thread, so lefty tighty, if that makes sense. And this is going to suck the crank up into this bearing. And remember, when you're doing this, keep an eye on the rod. You want to make sure this stays centered. You don't want this to go anywhere. And just like that, the Kitaco rod is installed. It's installed perfectly straight into the bearing. Flip it over. See the other side. Good to go. Now we're ready to start assembling the transmission. So we're going to put this to the side, and we're going to take our stock transmission and the new Takegawa 6-speed transmission, and we're going to take some parts from the stock transmission and put it in the Takegawa one, and then we're going to install it into this case, and then we are ready to put this case half back together. Alright, doing this transmission is super simple. Looks complicated, it is not. So this is your Takegawa 5-speed. It comes with a new drum, your 5th gear, your new star. It comes with 2 forks out of the 3 we need. It comes with 2 new dewashers. This is your factory 4-speed transmission. We got the main shaft, counter shaft, your 2 forks, the rod, these 2 pins that go in the stock star bit. So this uses parts from here, The parts we need are super simple. First thing we're going to swap over is, I believe the instructions call this the left fork, but it has an R, so I call it the right fork. It's going to say KPHR. We're going to use that, so put that over here on your Takegawa side. Next thing we're going to use is these pins. Again, these are from the star that go on the drum on the other side of the case, so put those by the new star. We're going to use the rod. Move that over. The main shaft, there's nothing on here we're using, so put that to the side. So this is the counter shaft. There is going to be, I think, 3 things on here we're going to need. 2 things. So first thing we're going to do is, there's a D-washer on this side. I've already got it loose right here. All you got to do is tip it over as I hitch the camera and lightly tap it all the way around. The D-washer will come loose. You can take this off, put that to the side. We're not going to be using it. So this top gear comes out. There's a bushing or a spacer that goes inside it. This one didn't come in it. It stayed on the counter shaft. So we're going to take this. We're using this spacer. So throw it over on the Takegawa side. And the next thing on here is called a thrust washer. I don't know why it's called this, but we're going to be using this. So that can go on that side. And that is it. That is all we're using out of the stock transmission. So we can put all this to the side as it rolls away. We're not going to use any of that. So we'll start with the easy thing first. We're going to take the silver D-washer that comes with the Takegawa kit. We're going to take your main shaft, and it's just going to go on here, and that's it. Just like the factory one. There's a silver one there. But for some reason, they don't include this already on here. I don't know why. So if you're a He-Man, you'll be able to put this on with your fingers and force it down in there. But I'm lazy, so I'm going to take a 13mm socket and line it up and evenly hit it on there, and it will go on. So, you might be able to push it down. Nope. You'll hear it fall into place. So the D-washer, they have a little flat spot on it, and that goes into a little groove on the shaft. So now this can't come off. This is good to go. The shaft is done. Put that to the side. Next one. This is the counter shaft. This is where your sprocket goes. Alright, so the first step is take your thrust washer, which is the flat washer with no D on it. Put that on there like that. The next step is take your spacer that we took out of this gear. Slide that on there like this. Next step is to take your extra gear, slide that on. That goes into the spacer. This gear can fall down, that's fine. Next step is your black D-washer. Same thing. If you can get it on there with your hands, your Superman. If not, take a 14 socket, deep socket, place it on there, and give it some nice light love taps. You'll hear it seat. This gear's in. You'll know it's in there because the washer's loose. And just like that. Well, once you get this gear back in there, your 2 shafts are complete. Move your socket out of the way. Next step we're going to do is we can put this in the case. We're actually gonna install this drum first. It's just a screw, goes into here, really easy. The drum goes in the case. It will allow you to line up the forks, you know, get the forks in there. So let me clean this up and I'll get the case up here and we'll install the transmission into the case. So this drum can only go one way, really. So what I do is, so the side that's got the two holes for the dowel pin, that goes from the middle of the crank to the middle of the case to your outside. And then I use this this wood block, and it holds it in place. And we can kind of guess where neutral is. It doesn't have to be perfect. So now this will hold in place. Next thing we're going to do is, so this star, these aren't perfectly centered on where the bolt hole goes. So we will put these pins in. These came out of your 4-speed drum. That, or they stuck in your 4-speed star. So like I said, this can only go on one way. The bolt hole only lines up one way, so if it's on the other way, the bolt hole is not centered and you won't be able to put this clamp or this back on. So the next step is, once you got the dowel pins in, you got the star on there, we're going to be putting this on. Get some blue Loctite. I don't know if the manual calls for blue Loctite, but on bolts like this where I have to take the case apart to fix, it's the last thing I want to do. I just do a little tiny bit. This is a 5 mil. This goes on like that. And then we're going to thread this on. Then with your left hand, right hand, whatever you are, hold the drum and tighten this down. It's not crazy torqued, but like I said, you do not want it coming undone from vibrations. So that is in there. Flip this back over. Now we are able to put the transmission in. So now we're going to be dropping the transmission into the case. So you're going to want your counter shaft to face up, your main shaft to face down, and all the gears literally just line up like this. So it's going to go this way. So the counter shaft is going to be closer or towards the back of the engine. The way this shift fork works, so KPHR, this is the one from your factory transmission. This is going to go on the top on your counter shaft. The Takegawa center, it's marked with a C, will go on your main shaft, and then the Takegawa KYZ will go on your counter shaft again on the bottom, like this. And then you have a rod here. This rod goes through all these. Getting this to line up first try is nearly impossible. So if you don't get it first try, that's okay. I'm actually going to put some oil on this. Now we got some oil. It should go in a little bit smoother. Oh yeah, much smoother. So now that you have the rod in there from the stock transmission, now it's to line all this up at once. It's not easy. You probably might have to take the rod out, which we'll see. So the transmission dropped in there relatively smooth. Now we just got to line all these forks up into the drum. Not the easiest of the tasks. Rotate this a little bit so I can see what I'm doing here. like that. And then once that's lined up, you can push this down. This will go into a little slot there. And just like that, we have a transmission. And I just realized this gear is on backwards. Alright, I flipped this gear, now we're in business. You don't want to see that copper washer. So, transmission is installed. We are ready for the case half on here now. We'll be adding some Honda Bond. This stuff all the way to around the edge. I'll pop up on the screen the diagram that Honda uses, because most of these you go in and around these bolts, and then these you go on the outside of these bolts. So just follow the Honda diagram. You don't want to use a lot of this, just a little bit all the way around. You don't want to block the oil ports. There's going to be oil ports on this side, on the other half that we put together. You definitely don't want to block those, or you won't have any oil to your head or your crank. Let me clean up here, and then we'll attach the case half together.
The next day.
Alright, new day, same video for you. We are going to attach the case halves together. We got the crank in, we got the transmission in, the gear drums in. Don't forget the dowel pin with the spring that comes out of your stock transmission. I usually use a little bit of oil in a syringe, and I put oil in the bearings, the case half bearings, and I dribble it all over the transmission and just rotate it, work it in, just so it's not dry when the first start up. We're going to be using Honda Bond to attach the cases together. And in the manual, if you have a big bore kit and you're doing the crank, or your Honda manual, it will tell you where the sealant is going to, or the adhesive gasket maker, whatever you call it, is going to go. So I'm going to mount the camera, we're going to get the gasket on here, and then we're going to put the case halves together. Oh, and don't forget your dowel pins. I always buy new ones when I split cases, just because the old ones are crap, usually. So they're the larger dowel pins. They're the same dowel pins that go on your head, on your head studs, or your head. Your cylinder attaches to your case. Yep, that's me that forgot to record an outro video, or an outro to the video. Crank's done, 5-speed's done. As you can see, the motor's back together. It's got about 1,000 miles on it, so yeah, everything went smoothly. I'm trying to remember, I did this a while ago. When you put it together, the bolts on the case are, I believe, are 8 foot-pounds. Just a little snug, ugga-dugga. And then I usually let it sit like that for 24 hours for the gasket to seal, dry up, become a nice rubbery fixture in the engine. Oil won't leak, and then I sit the engine up and then I rebuild the rest of it, top end and all that. I'm trying to think what else. I had all this in my head and now I don't remember what I wanted to say. Yeah, that was it. End of the video. I think I said in the beginning of the video I could do videos on building the Neo. That never happened. I never recorded the rest of it. I just wanted to get it done because I was going to Tennessee for the Smoky Mountain crawl and got that done, built, ran great. Slayed the dragon many times. I may upload a video of it later at some point if I get to more editing. But since of all this virus crap, you can't see me. All this virus crap, I got plenty of time to edit videos because I work from home. Yeah, that's it. So thank you guys for watching. I hope this helps anyone installing the 5-speed transmission by Takegawa or the crank. I think Takegawa just released their own crank, so I'm sure it's the same process. Again, I'll have the link in descriptions for the tools I used off Amazon or We Bike Japan or wherever. I don't have any kickbacks to those because it's YouTube. You don't make money on YouTube. So thank you for watching. If you want any more how-to videos, I got plenty of stuff recorded. I just got to edit it. But put in the comments what you guys want to see. All right? Later.